Hey witches, and welcome to another Cozy Coven chat. My name is Jenny C. Bell, and I am your host, and this chat is for the month of June. So yes, you heard that right, the month of June. Usually this podcast is weekly. However, I'm a mom, and I'm a mom first, and my kids are still young, and they live at home, and so summer is not really ideal for me to keep up on all my projects. So normally what I do is just kind of take a break from the podcast. But I thought, what if I do monthly for June, July, August, and then we come back full force in September and go back to weekly, just so I'm still connecting. I have cards. I have all about the full moon, the new moons. I have about the Sabbats. I have everything that I normally go over in this one podcast instead of breaking it up week by week. I'm also on YouTube. So this time I did a video playing around with trying video. It's kind of weird to just talk to no one on the video, but I know you're there. You know, you're there. Time is an illusion. Space is an illusion. You're there. So anyway, so if you want to see me and see the things I'm going to show, like the cards and whatnot, you can hop on over to YouTube. But you're honestly not missing too much, okay? So whatever you want to do, whatever you feel like. If if this is your podcast that you take a walk to or clean to, that's fine too, right? I totally understand. Okay, so this is actually coming out at the end of May on a blue moon. So let's talk about that first. Let's talk about our moons first, okay? So May 31st, we have a full moon in Sagittarius. It's called the blue moon whenever there are 2 full moons in the month. So you don't have to do anything special for a blue moon. It's just to get another moon. I really like full moons in Sagittarius, and we talked about it last week. I really like Sagittarius's energy. It's very akin to the Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year fire horse energy, right? It's this fiery, get up and go, chariot. It's so good. Like, I really like Sagittarius people. My daughter's a rising. I have a friend who's a son of Sagittarius, S-U-N, not the son of Sagittarius. We're not talking Percy Jackson on here, guys. Anyway, I digress. So, yeah, so I really love their kind of like, they have a kind of like a wandering spirit, a lot of them. I know my daughter really wants to travel. This person I know is very big into traveling. And so when I think about a full moon in Sagittarius, I think about like fiery energy. Like, what in my life needs a little extra oomph and power? And so I would, like I said on last week's podcast, I would be looking back at what are we manifesting for this year? And then what kind of fiery energy can you add to that? That's what I would be doing. Okay, then our next new moon is on June 14th, and that's in Gemini. And something I have to say, I really like Gemini season because I think it's like a social season, and my son is a Gemini. I'm a Gemini moon. I feel like Gemini, out of all of the zodiac signs, get the worst rap. People would be like, oh, I'm not dating him, he's a Gemini, and all this stuff. But my very close best friend / cousin is a Gemini. Like I said, my son is. And yeah, it's a lot of talking. He's also got ADHD, so, it's a lot of talking. It's a lot of socializing. But I don't know, I like Geminis. I like Gemini season. Remember, we have almost all the signs. Depending on your chart, you may be missing 1 or 2, but probably not. We have all the signs. Everything's in our chart somewhere. You've got Gemini somewhere in your chart, so let's not judge other people. But a new moon in Gemini feels like new communication. All right, we have a Mercury going into retrograde at the end of this month, so new moon in Gemini might want to shore up defenses, might want to, start thinking about what kind of communication you want to put out there. New moons in Gemini are good for starting a writing project, starting a proposal of some kind, drafting an email, something that's difficult for you, brainstorming about a difficult conversation that you want to have with someone. There's a lot that you can do with new moon in Gemini, and definitely a good time to look at all aspects of communication, I think, for yourself. And then, so that's June 14th. June 19th, just a little thing, Chiron's going into Taurus, and that offers some grounded healing. I'm a Taurus, so I really feel like that's interesting because, Chiron is the wounded healer. And I have to say, so we use the Chani app every night for my son. So my son, he's got a very strict sleep routine by design. Like, he's designed it. So he's got blackout curtains and a sleep mask, and we meditate before he goes to bed and all this stuff. So, and we've been using, for a while we use, Denise Lynn has a Sacred Forest deck, and it comes with meditations for every card. So for a long time we were using that. Prior to that we were using Insight Timer. Right now we're on the Chani app because Chani's got a ton of free meditations. But my husband, I don't know if he was being serious or not, but he was like, what's Chiron? Instead of Chiron. So Chiron is spelled Chiron. And my son and I were like, because my son's a big Percy Jackson fan. He's like, no, that's Chiron, Dad. But I don't know if he was messing with us or not, but it made us laugh because she has some Chiron meditations on there. So Chiron, the wounded healer, going into Taurus. I love that for myself. I love that for anybody. It's grounded. It's grounded healing. So keep that in mind because it's coming around the summer solstice. So June 21st, we have summer solstice. We also have Cancer season. And I just have to say, I don't love Cancer season. So I'm a Cancer rising. Cancer season always feels a little sad, right? There's a lot about emotions there, and it's like summer blues. I always end up listening to a lot of goth music, a lot of Morrissey. It's like summerween vibes, right? It's like a little emo, it's a little goth, it's a little sad. So just embrace it. So if you really feel the feels in the Cancer season, me too, and then you get to shine in Leo season. I think, that's kind of the best part. We get a little sad, we express our feelings, we let it all out, and then Leo season comes and we're like, here I am. So anyway, so June 21st is the summer solstice. Love the summer solstice. I love the longest day of the year. I love it. I love our tradition for a really long time. My husband always worked summer solstice. And so my kids and I would go to a local park and just look for signs of summer. And one of my favorite things that ever happened was that day we had packed a picnic lunch, and they were still young enough to really enjoy this activity. And walking around, and we found a baby bird in the parking lot, and my son named him Baby Zach. And it was this whole thing. We ended up reuniting him with his little parents. But he still will be like, remember when we found Baby Zach? And he'll point to that part of the parking lot. So really simple thing for summer solstice is just get outside. If you can, observe a sunrise or a sunset. If not, get some little sun on your skin safely. Get outside, enjoy it, honor it. I have on Insight Timer, I have a meditation for summer solstice as well as a talk on summer solstice to go in more in depth. In our Coven, we have a whole bunch of stuff in the library on summer solstice. I think it's a really good one to spend with friends or witchy people. It's a good one to have outside, to have a little bonfire. It's about joy. It's about the sun shining down. It's really a positive time. It's really a time to really think about what joy do you want to bring into your life. That's what I'll be doing for summer solstice. My book will have been out by then, which we can talk about in a second. But I will really be celebrating. We don't celebrate our wins enough. I definitely don't celebrate my wins enough. I have my friend who gives me a psychic reading twice a year. I pay for them. Just so you know, just because someone's a friend or associate, you should still pay for their stuff because they're a small business owner. But anyway, so I pay for readings twice a year. I usually get one around Christmas for the New Year's and then one around my birthday in April. But she's often said so many times, she's like, your angels and guides are like, hey, you don't celebrate your wins. She's like, they show you climbing to the top of the mountain and then looking towards the next mountain. And so that's something I'm personally working on, celebrating my wins. So I think on summer solstice, I'll be celebrating my book, celebrating 10,000 downloads on this podcast, which thank you so much for all the people that are here and listening or watching this time. I really, really am grateful for that. That means a lot to me. I'm celebrating all the people who have joined our Coven. I'll be celebrating being on Belief, Being, and Beyond, which will talk about all the things. So I'm going to really celebrate. And so that's kind of the moons and the seasons for June. I did pull cards for the month of June, but I also went into my Akashic Records. So, or our Akashic Records. I did mine too. But I have 2 books. The first book I have is Spirit Crystals. And in Spirit Crystals, there's some like misunderstanding about Spirit Crystals. Yes, you're working with crystals, but you're actually really learning to work with guides and learning a little bit about past life and basically use the crystal as a jumping point to do more spiritually. And you use the book, you figure out which crystal is your spirit crystal. You do that work, and then you can go through and work with all the other crystals. It's sort of like in Zodiac. So let's say you're a sun sign Leo. So you can read the book and read all about Leo, but that doesn't mean that you can't work with the energy of Cancer when it's Cancer season. So it's the same with spirit crystals. So let's say your spirit crystal is a clear quartz. You do all the work, you read the chapter, you get to know clear quartz, you do the meditations. There's lots of exercises in here. And then you're like, okay, I want to bring in rose quartz. So eventually my goal is like, I would hope that you'd work with all the spirit crystals. So anyway, back to the book. So in spirit crystals, I have a section on clear quartz. And clear quartz was the first of the spirit crystals that I wrote, even though it's not the first in the book. And it's the healer archetype, and it connects to Archangel Michael and Lemuria, and it's okay if you don't believe in that, eagle medicine, and all of these kinds of things. But the big thing I have in here is learning how to read the Akashic Records. And I have my own prayer. And this prayer works really well for me. You just need like a piece of clear quartz, and if you can't, you can just envision it, and you say the prayer. So I use that prayer, and I open the records for the audience of Cozy Coven Chats. So that's anybody that's listening. And if you've been with me a while, this is actually how I started on YouTube. I started off by opening the Akashic Records every month, giving a reading of the Akashic Records, and then talking about it. And so what I do is I'm clairaudient. I'm starting to work on clairvoyance. I'm really seeing more now. But I'm clairaudient, meaning that I hear the messages. But when I open the records, I put my phone next to me and I voice record, and it just comes through. So I voice record and then I transcribe it onto paper because my voice doesn't quite sound like me, and it's unnerving for some people. So I'm going to read it to you. So I opened it and asked just what do we need to know for June 2026. June is a time of reset. It marks a halfway point between light and dark. It's time to stop, slow down, listen, and pay attention. Go within for answers. Which I found really interesting because it's kind of like the opposite of summer solstice with all the solar energy. Going within is more like we think of fall-winter activity. Turn off the news, turn off the media. Sit in darkness, sit in stillness. What do you really know? What is really the truth? What do you really see, hear, feel, touch, taste? What is here that is now? Not what others are saying or showing you from around the world. Not what people are trying to tell you or convince you of. But what do you see, hear, touch, feel, taste now in your life at this moment? What is your energy? What is your idea? What is your place in all of this? The collective is here. It is always here. But too many are getting lost in the collective, like a grain of sand just lost in a bowl. You're meant to be unique. You're meant to be individual. You're meant to know your own life. Too many people know other people's lives. Too many people are wrapped up in other things. What's happening here? What's happening now? What's your life? What's your feelings? Who are you? Pay attention to you, to your ideas, to your own joy, to your creativity, to your love, to your light, to your sadness, to your darkness, to your own heaviness. Yes, you're part of this world, but don't get lost in it. Don't get lost in it. They often will repeat. I call in like the lords of the records and the guides. They'll often repeat an idea that they really want to drive home. That was channeled. take it or leave it. But what I get from that is that they never mention like AI or anything, but it seems like it's really important that we start like trusting what's in front of us, what's here and now, over what's online, what we're seeing. Got to really like hone our own understanding, our own authenticity. And I think that's really good advice. We have a resistance circle in our coven, and so, you know, we talk about the news from time to time, and you can really get lost in the news cycle, and it can really just wear you down. But the truth is, it's not happening to you here and now, and that's something that like sometimes our nervous system has a hard time distinguishing. It's very traumatic to read and see the news daily, especially watching it through video. And I think this is a reminder that you need time each day to like be in your own life and be present and be like, okay, what's happening here that I can see, feel, hear, touch, taste now. Definitely gonna be taking that advice. Okay, and then I pulled cards and I used 3 different decks. I have the Tarot of the Woodland Gardens by Jessica Rue. A lot of people have this oracle, and they love it. I have the Cancer Pocket deck from Red Wheel, because it's Cancer season. And then I used the Cosmic Crater Oracle deck, which is mine. So the card we got for the Tarot of the Woodland Gardens is the 8 of Wands. So it's 8 wands going one way and a proud little rooster walking. And this energy is keep going energy. So this is the energy of don't give up, don't stop, use the momentum, keep going. So I take this as we start basically the energy of the month with a full moon. We have summer solstice. And even though we're being like reminded to reset and be within, it's like there's this energy driving us forward in our lives. Use it. Use this momentum. Use the longer days. Really use that energy. And then the Cancer card is an hourglass with like a little moon inside, and it says forever. You have always wanted to say forever, and perhaps you have said it improperly a few times. However, this forever will last forever, and you will want to say it over and over again. Now is the time to make decisions that last for so long you forget ever having had any doubts. Don't hesitate. So we're moving forward energy, making decision energy. It's interesting, there's a reading I did for our coven for June. One of them really talked about like making decisions that month. Like it was so important to make decisions that month. And then from the our coven, or from the Cosmic Creator, we have magic is real and in your hands, and frankincense and myrrh resin. And this card is all about you are the magic, right? You don't need anything outside of you, which is very similar to the Akashic Records reading, that your own experience, thoughts, feelings, senses are important. You're the magic. You're the altar. Trust yourself. So the magic is real. Trust yourself. Move forward. And then we have make decisions. Okay. I wanted to celebrate real quick. Celebrating wins. So Divergent Witchcraft, if you don't already have a copy and you ordered one, it should be on its way. Some people are getting them early. I've had several people in our coven get them in May. It comes out June 1st here. It comes out July 2nd in the UK and September 8th in Australia. Sorry, Australia. I'm not sure why it's taking so long. They are currently recording the audio. So that should be coming out shortly as well. But when that's out, I'll tell everybody. I'll even probably put a snippet here on the podcast, so look for that. It's very exciting. And so taking this, live this week, or this month, let me get back to our coven. So in our coven, the theme is reset, which came through in the reading, which I thought was interesting. And so part of resetting is we're going to be talking about a book of light and how to keep one. Now, a book of light, basically, it comes from the Divergent Witchcraft. Chapter 2 is all about journaling. And the first part is just about like personal journaling. And the second part is about keeping a book of light, which is my term to use instead of a book of shadows. So basically, I say in here, the term grimoire loosely translates to mean a book written in Latin. The title Book of Shadows was coined by Gerald Gardner, who is one of the people responsible for reviving witchcraft and whose work has had a huge impact on the Wiccan movement. The term Book of Shadows seems to have come from an article in a cult magazine from 1949 that had to do with a Hindu practice of measuring one's shadow. So basically I make the point that these terms are terms we use in witchcraft, but they don't really translate to anything witchy or magical. And so I propose saying Book of Light because it's my personal belief that we each leave a legacy of light. There's something that comes a lot up in my own readings and in my Akashic Records, is that I'm told that's our purpose, is we leave a legacy of light. And that's why I would often say, like, with love and light at the end of recordings, but people in the New Age community have tainted that, so I don't say that anymore, because it's people that use that often gaslight and whatever, or bypass, they're spiritual bypassers, which I'm not. I believe in shadow work. I believe in working through the darkness and having your dark moments, all of those things. So yeah, so we're having a Book of Light class in our coven. Our theme is reset. This month's card reading is fun because I used a yokai deck and a couple other kind of Japanese inspired decks, plus some summer things. So it's kind of a good mishmash, but a mishmash nonetheless. And then, just have a good time in there. I really am grateful for everybody that's in there and has been joining. It's a really good time. Really good time. Okay, and then let's talk about June. Some things I have, some thoughts about June. Before I get there, because I want to talk to you about AI a little bit. It's a hot topic. I want to talk about it. I just want to remind you that I am now co-host on Belief, Being, and Beyond, which is on YouTube and anywhere else you listen to podcasts with Granddaughter Crow. And originally it was supposed to be that I'd come on there sometimes, but it looks like I'm on there most of the time, and I love it. It's part of why I'm scaling back on this podcast for the summer, but also because we're going on vacation, and also I'm writing, I have a contract, I'm finishing up a third book and another special project for Llewellyn. Exciting. Busy in the summer. But over on Belief, Being, and Beyond, we are interviewing, our main thing is interviewing authors and creators, but we are also doing roundtables. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that, because the first roundtable came out this last Saturday. So I'm recording this before then, so it's coming out, but it will have already come out the day before this podcast. And we have Deborah Blake. I don't think she needs any introduction. She is amazing. She's just as cool as I would hope she would be. You know what I mean? Like, being a fan, having her oracle deck, her tarot deck, reading her books. I was like, she's just as cool as I thought she would be. She was like, we look like we can be related. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. We're very similar, I'd say, belief points and things. Because our birthdays are really close. She's also an April Taurus, which is cool. And then we have two other people on who are and Granddaughter Crow and ourselves. So we're gonna aim for always having 5 people on, and hopefully Deborah Blake as often as we can, because she really likes being on these. So basically, the setup is we have these guests, we pick a topic, and then we ask questions. I'm asking questions from the point of view of a newer witch, a beginning witch, or someone who maybe doesn't have as much understanding on the subject. So this time we're talking about AI. So I asked, some questions. Is it okay? Would you use AI as a witch? If you were starting out? Because we're all older on that show. We've all been witches long enough that AI wasn't even a thing. I mean, I think we're all older than Google. We all started off our training, our witchy learning through libraries and books. Pre-internet, there was some Yahoo groups and Witch's Voice and stuff, but not really relying on that. Really relying on books and in-person meetups. So I wanted to ask them those questions. We talk a little bit about spiritual people using AI as a way of mentoring people. Using AI. We haven't talked about this, but people are using AI for tarot. So it was a really good conversation. So the goal of these is that we just bring people who are elders, not people who are elders, wise people, people who have the knowledge and the wisdom and the information, educated, to talk on a subject of interest to people. So they're roundtables, they're discussions. And I used to do something very similar in my classroom called the Socratic Seminar. And in that, the kids would all read an article, we'd sit around in a circle, and we just have this really great discussion. And my job is just to facilitate and not to, maybe to like clarify and facilitate and ask questions, but not really to lead. And so that's what we're doing. It's really fun. So we're doing our first one. We are also going to do some podcasts where it's just her and I talking about something we're calling back to beliefs. So we're going to talk about, for instance, we're going to talk about spiritual protection, like what we use. And it's really fun because she is a shaman, medicine woman, a witch, and we have different approaches. So it's really fun to talk to her about that. So Belief, Being, and Beyond, if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and do that, because you're going to see and hear a different part of a side of me, right? A part where I'm going to bring people to you, bring guests to you. And so that's very exciting. So that, doing that this summer. And then kind of want to talk about, we talked about celebrating our wins. That was a big theme for me. I have that one written down. But I also wanted to talk about how the month of June, I'm looking at it as a reset. And the reason why is because I think we start off like January of the year with a very different set of goals, aspirations, ideas, hopes, dreams, all of it is so different in January than where we end up in June. So I suggest some things. So in June, as part of the reset, like maybe do a 6-month ahead reading, compare it to the one you did in December, January. Maybe look at vision boards, goals, whatever you did in January, or for even if you like the spring equinox is a manifesting time. Like look at those things and reset some things, refocus some things. Could be like that you go, oh, you know what? I forgot that I even had this as a goal. There's still time. I want to throw some energy to that. And then use that Sagittarius full moon or summer solstice to throw some energy there. Or it could be that you go, oh, that was a goal. That is no longer aligned. And I want to talk about that a little bit, because a common question I get is that, can you take back a manifestation? Like, I put a spell out there, I'm manifesting for something, I'm trying to attract something to me. I don't want that anymore. And actually this happens more than you would think, right? Because it's kind of a buzzword. Manifesting is a buzzword. And so people are like, yeah, I'm going to manifest for this. And they're like, wait a minute, I actually don't want that. So yeah, you can absolutely sit down, maybe do a cord cutting ritual, maybe do a candle, like unhexing, uncrossing candle, maybe do like a black candle, something like that, and just be like, I take this back. I take it back. I don't want this anymore. And thank you for aligning things for me, and I'm open to a different idea, I'm open to a different approach, and I'm open to a different future. And it's okay to do that. Now, if you are manifesting for something I talk about in the Divergent Witchcraft book is that we have to do the work. And that's unpopular. Some people, there's a lot of stuff going on TikTok, WitchTok right now. That's exhausting. So first thing I saw was someone shared with me, this woman saying that you're not a real witch if you're poor. Like if you're broke, you're not a real witch. You don't have magic, because if you were a real witch, you wouldn't be broke. And she's selling some money program, obviously, right? She's selling some kind of manifesting money program. Another witch on there is like, if you're a real witch, you're thin or skinny or fit, because you've manifested the perfect body for yourself. Which is absolutely, both of those ideas are so ridiculous. So ridiculous. Let's talk about the money one first. So when we manifest for abundance, that means something different to everybody. I live in a small house, in a small town, on a small property, and I like it. I am rich in love of my family, in pets, in the herbs I grow in my yard, in friendship. I'm rich in all the books that Llewellyn and Weiser and Simon Schuster and Hay House sends me. I'm rich in tarot cards. I'm rich in crystals. That's a form of abundance. Being rich in love, being rich in friendship, being rich in joy, being rich in health. Abundance and magic are not linked to money. And I talk about in spirit crystals, there's a whole manifestor archetype. So many people come earthside from past life wounds having to do with poverty mindset, taking a vow of poverty. Some people grow up with like real money issues that they inherit from their family, their parents, ancestry. There's so much going on with money that is absolutely ridiculous and rude to be like, if you're broke, you can't be an actual witch. No. And these one-size-fit-all money programs are ridiculous too. They don't work. Money is complicated, right? It's social class. It's race. It's gender. It's age. It's educational background. It's how you were raised. It's the money you were given as a child. It's having a trust fund. It's like all this stuff. It's so complicated. And it's beyond witchcraft. So witchcraft is a healing mode. It's magic. It's manifesting. It's all this beautiful stuff. But we still live in a 3D mundane world. And some lessons have to be learned. Some shadows have to be faced. And then sometimes it's just the situation that you're in. So please don't ever think or get down on yourself because you're not rich the way someone else thinks you should be rich. And the same thing goes for skinny. Not everybody wants to be skinny. First of all, I don't want to be skinny. I'm past that. I worked to be skinny my whole life. I always watched what I ate, always exercised, blah, 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 blah. Turned 40, and I was like, I'm going to maintain. I'm here to maintain. I'm not here to be skinny. I'm here to be strong and be hopefully a grandmother one day and be able to hang out with my toddler grandchildren and run around and play games and carry my own groceries in and walk around. Once I hit 40, I was like, okay, now my health is about aging gracefully. It's about lifting weights for my bone health, not about being skinny. It's about taking the right vitamins and eating healthfully so that my body ages well. Again, not about being skinny. And if you are still about being skinny and that's a focus for you, great. Not judging that. But to say just because someone's overweight, they're not a good witch, ridiculous. And what if they want to be overweight? What if they like being thick and curvy? Why is that a problem? That's so gross, patriarchal, disgusting beauty standards that just because someone's not skinny as a woman, she has no value. Get out of here. Get out of here. I'm happy to be curvy. Been curvy my whole life. I fought my curves for a really long time because I grew up in an era when heroin chic was cool. And I'm not gonna let that thought process get to me. I'm happy. I'm happy to be curvy. I'm happy to have muscles and all of those things. So absolutely ridiculous. So less on the judgy and the hatefulness and more on the loving and the kindness and supportiveness, right? No matter where you are in life, no matter how much money you have in the bank account, no matter what your body looks like, no matter your, gender or who you love or race, none of it matters. You can be a witch. Anybody can be a witch. And we're all on different paths, and we're all on different journeys, and we're all aiming for different things. So you can't judge another witch's path. Let's say, especially again, if that witch is, quote, broke, but that's not what she's focused on. She's focused on doing some shadow work or healing some inner child stuff or focused on getting out of an abusive relationship. We don't know what anybody's going through. And it's important for us to be supportive more than anything else. So that's my soapbox. I want to leave with that. I will be on different podcasts. So I'm already on one with Patty Negri, The Witching Hour. I'm on Daughters of the Moon. There's some more that'll be coming up in the summer. Look for them. Please support those shows because that supports me, but I also want to support the shows that have me on there. Divergent Witchcraft and Spirit Crystals are for sale. Also, I'm working with Granddaughter Crow, Ho Shone, beautiful book by her. That's for sale. Yeah, let's celebrate our wins. Okay, so journal questions. Let's get back to our cards. So first question is, well, let's talk about AI too. We talked about a lot. So first question is, how do you feel about AI and the use of AI in witchcraft? Because I think we each need to have our own like set of rules, morals, values that we determine. Like, this is how I feel about it, and just kind of set it up for yourself. Okay, and then the next question is, when we talk about summer solstice, what needs some light or some energy, some fire, right? Same with the Sagittarius moon. Where's that rooster 8 of Wands energy need to go in your life? This Cancer card of forever. So what's forever for you? That was an interesting card. The magic is real. Magic is in your hands. Frankincense and myrrh. What's magic in your life right now? That's a great gratitude question. For me, I've had this little spider living on one of my daisies. And he's magic. He's just so pretty. I talk to him every day. He hides from me sometimes. He's magical. He's super cute. And from Divergent Witchcraft, a couple journal questions. They are from the very beginning of the book, because you know me, I had to start it off with some journal questions. What has been your spiritual journey so far? Draw a large spiral and mark points on the spiral as if it is a map of your own hero's journey. It's a really fun activity because you'll really go, oh wow, I have come a long way. Like, I have learned some stuff. List 5 times when your intuition was right? I love that part in Practical Magic, which, oh my gosh, can't wait for Practical Magic too. But when in the first movie, when they're like anti-jet, there's a little witch in all of us, and all the PTO moms are sharing all these little witchy stories. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie. What does intuition feel like in your body? What comes to mind when you read the word witch? Because some of us have some healing to do on that. And then what are you looking forward to most learning from the book? If you get the book, show me. I really love seeing it. You can either show me in our Coven or put it on Instagram, tag me. Please tag me, because sometimes I don't see stuff. Share it with me. I'm excited. And there was a really lovely book review done for me, which I'm going to link in the show notes. I didn't know her. She got my book. She read it, and she made the most beautiful review. So I want to share that with everybody too. All right. Have a great June. Blessed be.